Welcome into the archives, where we dive into games long forgotten in our Steam libraries, to find gems hidden within. So thanks to my ADHD ass, I started playing dwarves, and then decided to get distracted by playing Bloodborne, Space Engineers, Last of Us 2, XCOM 2, Kingdom Come Deliverance, and Storybook Brawl. So a video for the dwarves will come just later than I thought. So instead, we'll be covering a more recent game and potentially doing a controversial piece on Last of Us 2 in the future, because all the attention the Last of Us 1 remake is getting. Still thinking about that one. Thanks to one of my buddies really getting into it and recommending it, I have recently been playing Storybook Brawl, so let's see what this game has to offer. Storybook Brawl is an auto battler with a theme of mostly children's novels and books. At least, I don't think all of them are children's books. I can't remember when mom put me to bed with the story of Medusa or some super mage of black holes. Then again, I'm an American and don't have those very dark and scary stories that children are told from across the big pond. If you're not familiar with what an auto battler generally is, it's pretty simple. The game is usually broken up into rounds, where you have some sort of currency to buy a unit from a shared pool of random characters. These units usually have an attack stat and a health stat, plus more depending on the auto battler. These units tend to also have a tag of sorts that will be important for synergy for certain abilities or buffs. For our current game, these tags could be animal, mage, monster, or etc. So you buy your unit and place it on the board. After the timer ends in the shopping phase, the battle phase begins, where you are in a lobby of usually 8 or more people, and are selected randomly to fight one of them. You both sit back and watch your units slap each other. These games are equivalent of being a gladiatorial sponsor. You can train, buff, position, and add units, but once they're on the battlefield, they're on their own. Once the battle is over, the loser takes some damage, and the shopping phase begins again. This cycle keeps happening until there's one player left standing. So what makes Storybook Brawl stand out? Well, let's cover one big glaring issue first. That's not about the game, but for the ones who now own it, or partner, I'm not exactly sure. Starting in the early access in June 18, 2021, between then and now, July 11th, 2022, they had partnered up with a crypto company, planning on selling and using NFTs. Now, I don't support NFTs, and I think it's a crappy practice, but for the sake of the review, I will be ignoring it as it's not something that is currently placed in front of the users. This will be covering what I have seen in the game between the dates of June 14th to July 11th. Enough with the developer drama, let's get into general gameplay. When you start, it gives you a choice of 4 randomly selected heroes. Ah yes, looking very heroic there, Morete. Each have a different little gimmick that will assist you as you play. For example, Merlin gives 1 attack and 1 health to a random unit you own permanently after every time you cast a spell. When starting off, you only have access to the first 2 heroes in the lineup until you start buying heroes using in-game currency or bot currency. Once you and everyone else has selected their hero, the game begins. You are given gold to spend on units or spells. Any gold not spent is wasted and not saved for the next round, and you are usually only able to cast 1 spell per shopping phase. Every round you steadily gain more gold to a cap of 12 on round 11. Units can be placed on your board that has 4 front row slots and 3 back row slots, plus 4 slots that count as your hand that don't usually have any effect on the field. Placement is important in most auto battlers, and this one's no different. Whoever's on your furthest front left will always attack first. Back row characters cannot be targeted for attacks unless all the front characters have been killed, or the enemy unit has the flying keyword. When it is time for your unit to attack, it will randomly select any possible target, going back and forth between you and your opponent's units, doing the good slaps. After every round, everyone gains 1 point of EXP, which after getting 3, you move on to the next level, which gives you access to higher level units. Each level only takes 3 points of EXP to get to, and you start at level 2 with a max level being level 6. Unit costs are equivalent to their level, and anytime you are able to buy 3 of the same unit, they combine, combining all 3 of their stats together into a single upgraded unit. This will also boost their ability, usually by double, not true for overall. Some effects slightly change when upgraded. After they have combined, you also gain a treasure equal to the level of the combined unit. So if you get 3 level 2 units combined, you get a level 2 treasure. These treasure can heavily impact how your board/shop plays. From simple buffs that give small stat increases to a certain type of unit, or allowing you to cast random spells at the start of every battle for free. You can only have a max of 3 treasures at one time. Not to worry, you can replace these treasures if you ever fill up. If you ever get a set of treasures where you want none of them, you can just skip selecting one and gain 2 gold. Spells are a cool feature that is utilized in a lot of ways and doesn't feel like some sort of gimmick add-on. They can either give you a slight edge in battle or permanently buff some of your units. Units are separated by certain tags and keywords which can build synergy off each other based on treasures or abilities. Also, all units are separated by their moral compass, such as evil, neutral, good, which is shown by the border surrounding their picture, being in the same sequence, purple, gray, and gold. I don't think in the game's current state it has enough good builds for people to feel comfortable to enjoy. However, it's not in a bad state either, so I would say it's okay. The game is still in its early access phase, with updates still coming through to mess with the balance and add new things. So as it stands, did I enjoy Storybook Brawl? I did. It was a nice, relaxing game to play to keep you occupied, where it's easy and could have been played with one hand if your other hand is distracted by a feline demanding your attention. After putting in about 60 hours from just idly playing while doing other things, and it being free to play with in-game purchases that do not affect the overall gameplay, it is definitely worth giving a shot. Now, I did mention I had a friend that got into this game and wanted to get their opinion. They have played 10 times longer than I have, and have been with the game longer in its beta phase. Here is his stats compared to mine. Wow. Those are numbers. The numbers are a little skewed as they were playing before tracking was a thing. Anyways, discussing with them about the game and them being a lot more into the auto battler genre than they had these things to say. They enjoy it because it has more depth, but not too much strategy like Teamfight Tactics or Dota Underlords where you need a spreadsheet to see what items do or how they combine, which gives a more relaxing experience. They agree that the game would do better with more unit and unit types, to have more and to make more interesting builds. They are interested in how it develops. The game has been slow, but has been going into a positive direction, in their opinion. The only thing that would probably make them instantly stop playing is if the NFT issue were ever to populate the game proper with advertisements of it and such. And I agree fully. If the game were to bring NFTs into the menu/shop, then it would get an instant uninstall in my book. So if you're looking for a new auto battler to get into, maybe try giving Storybook Brawl a chance. Thank you very much for listening to another one of my reviews and hope you've been enjoying my content thus far. I'm hoping to be releasing episodes more than once a month, but with work and everything, it's hard to put time into games and making videos. Not to mention my gaming habits that got me super distracted. I want to make a review on the dwarves, but struggling on focusing on it, so my next review might be that. Or maybe I'll be interested in making sure my civilization doesn't get killed by a giant flood. However, renovating a train station could be fun. Choices. Well, only time will tell, but until then, enjoy the archives.